The last two, experience versus real world advice. You have heard me say, and this is a combination of the last point being I want people to have a consequence for giving bad advice. And I've said that, and maybe I've been too black and white about that, because in thinking back on it, it kind of implies that if someone is not licensed and credentialed and can't be sued or arrested or kicked out of the industry, that you just can't listen to them. What I mean by that is you want someone who at least understands and appreciates the fact that what they're recommending carries weight. And there are people out there who have no consequence to bad advice, who use that as a crutch to just say ridiculous things because they know there is no consequence. But there are also people who have had real world experience with several people or dozens or hundreds of clients, and people who only have their experience who are still open about why they're recommending what they're recommending. Going back to my example of Kevin Matthews of Building Bread. Kevin is a person who makes bold takes. He's a person who believes strongly in what he believes. There are also certain things where he's going to tell you, these are where I'm speaking from experience from my previous career as a financial advisor. And these are things that I just feel strongly about, but I'm going to back it up with as much data as I can. Showing you just not this is how I feel, but here's either data or real world experience that buffets how I feel. Another example is a couple, Rich and Regular. And Rich and Regular, Julian and Kirsten, great couple, a great platform, great podcast. They are a couple that decided at a certain point they didn't want to work in corporate America. And the experience that they provide on their podcast is real world experience from their journey. And not only will they share things that they have done, things that have worked, things that have not worked. They bring a variety of people on their platforms who have that experience beyond just their household to give you a fuller perspective. And to me, that would be an example of a couple where there's not like a huge real world consequence to you hearing something on their podcast that financially harms you in terms of what could happen to them. But also because of the way they treat their platform, it is highly unlikely, unless you're just misinterpreting what they're putting out, that they would recommend something on their podcast that's so specific that will put you in a position where you're harmed financially. These are the types of elements that I want from people who are giving fair and measured and balanced content. And it's something that I think you should consider when you're looking for your best blog or best YouTube channel. Shouldn't be your best podcast, because that should be this one. But I am not naive enough to think that this is the only person or the only place that you'll listen. And I hope that this is information that's valuable.